Welcome to the Super Bowl. Today, Super Bowl 15, Super Sunday, features the NFC champion Dallas Cowboys against the AFC champion San Diego Chargers. The Chargers, your number one seed in the AFC, come into the game with a 12-4 record. The Cowboys are actually a wild card team, as the Philadelphia Eagles had won the division, and they come into the game with a 12-4 record. The Chargers were 11-5. My apologies. The Dallas Cowboys reached their 5th Super Bowl as they played in Super Bowls 1, 2, 7, and 8, winning all of them. In fact, the trophy presented at the end of the game, the Tom Landry Trophy, is named after their coach. The San Diego Chargers make their first appearance in the Super Bowl, becoming the second AFC West team behind the Oakland Raiders, who've been in 8 of them. Here's a look at the AFC champion San Diego Chargers. A look at the New Orleans Superdome and your NFC champion Dallas Cowboys, led by Danny White, who becomes the third Cowboys quarterback to start a Super Bowl behind Don Meredith and Roger Staubach. Air Coryell will be on display today as two of the highest scoring offenses in the league take to action. Going over last minute instructions before the coin toss. Captains meeting at midfield. It appears the Chargers have won the toss. Dan Fouts gives us instructions. And ladies and gentlemen, we are about to be underway. As Rick Partridge tees it up. And there's the kick. Jones brings it out. And the Cowboys will take over at the 33-yard line. Can they win their 5th Tom Landry Trophy as Danny White brings in the play call? Taking over for Roger Staubach in 1980, Danny White has had a superb season, leading a comeback win against the Falcons in the divisional playoffs, making everybody forget about old Captain Comeback. White under center. He's got Tony Dorsett in the backfield. He's going to fake the handoff on first down. Throws the ball and it is knocked away. And that'll bring up a second down as we look at the Cowboys' offensive starts. John Fitzgerald at center. Herbert Scott and Tom Rafferty, the guards. In the backfield, Tony Dorsett is joined by Preston Pearson, Billy Joe Dupree at the tight end. Drew Pearson and Tony Hill are your receivers. Second down and 10 from the 33. White calls the signals. There's a handoff to Tony Dorsett, and he is going to pick up about 3 yards on the carry. The Charger defensive line, Louis Kelcher and Gary Johnson at the tackles. Who was in the last tackle? Fred Dean, Leroy Jones, the ends. Bob Horn and Woodrow Lowe, 2 of the linebackers. Glenn Edwards and Pete Shaw, the safeties, with Mike Williams and Willie Buchanan at the corners. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 7. As Danny White's in the shotgun. He goes back to pass. The blitz is on, and it is going to be a sack for number 74, Louis Kelcher. The 5th-year player out of SMU who played his college ball down around Dallas. Came unblocked right up the middle. Danny White had no choice but to eat the sack. And Danny White will punt the ball from his own 10-yard line. High punt, taken all the way into the end zone. 97 yards in the air. That was impressive. And here we come and take a look at the San Diego Chargers MVP, Dan Fouts. Fouts in his 7th year out of Oregon. Here's the handoff to Mike Williams. The 5th-year back out of LSU who splits time with Chuck Bunsey. Look at the starters. Don Masick at the center. Wilkerson and White your guards. Dan Audick and Billy Shields your tackles. Clarence Williams, Chuck Bunsey. Your running backs, John Jefferson, Charlie Joyner, the receivers, and Kellen Winslow, the big tight end, the rookie. It's a 2nd and 8 now. Fouts fakes the handoff. He's back to pass. He's got some time. He's going to scramble, and he is going to go down. Big number 72, Ed Too Tall Jones, wraps Fouts up and brings him down, and it's going to be a 3rd down and 12. Fouts could not avoid the size and pure speed of Jones as he brings him down. 3rd down and 12 from the own 18-yard line. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw, and there is no receiver in sight. And Dan Fouts' first pass falls incomplete, and will bring up a 4th down for the Charger offense. And on to punt, Rick Partridge, number 17. Gets the kick away. It's going to be taken by Preston Pearson at the 30. Nope, Drew Pearson, my apologies. Cowboys have changed up the return men today. First and 10 from the 33, in the same position they were on their first drive. There's the give to Dorsett, and he is going to be met in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Big number 79, Gary Johnson, the 5th-year player out of Grambling. As everything Dallas Cowboy line having some trouble early on picking up their assignments. Second down, 12 yards. Just the right side of the 32. White gives on the draw to Dorsett. Dorsett's going to pick up the first down. He's a fumble. And who comes away with it? Mike Fuller on the tackle, and they're going to say Dallas maintains possession. Let's take a look at the replay. The pump fake gave Dorsett some running room. He takes off. He fumbles. It looks like he was down anyway, so they called it a fumble on the field. Looks like number 64, John Fitzgerald, is there to scoop up the garbage and keep the ball for the Cowboys. First and 10 at the 45. White fakes the handoff. He's going to run. He is going to be caught from behind by number 71, Fred Dean. Fred Dean named to the Pro Bowl this year in his 5th year out of Louisiana Tech. Also first team All-Pro. It'll be a 1-yard loss. Danny White in the shotgun on 2nd and 11. Gives to Tony Dorsett, and Dorsett is going to be met and dropped in the backfield. Gary Johnson on the tackle. These two teams met on October 26th in a very high-scoring game as 73 points were put on the board. The Dallas Cowboys coming away with a 42-31 win at Texas Stadium in Dallas. So far in here in the first quarter, a little bit different story. Golden Richards on the reception. Danny White hits him for 20 yards, his first completion of the game, the first pass completion of the game, and a first down. White had good time, good blocking that time as Richards found a seam in the zone. Glenn Edwards steps up, makes the tackle. Along with Bernard Jackson and Mike Williams, who we mistakenly earlier called the running back when I met Clarence Williams. First and 10 from the 38. Danny White on the give to Dorsett. He's going to go to the left. And he is going to pick up about 7 yards before being brought down by number 41, Booker Russell. It is 2nd down and 4 now. From the 31. Gives to Preston Pearson. His 13th year out of Illinois, getting some playing time here in the Super Bowl instead of Robert Newhouse. Not sure why. Danny White throws. It is going to be complete to Tony Hill. They're going to move to a first down at the 21-yard line. Gives to Dorsett. Dorsett's going to get a yard maybe on that. 2nd down 9, 2nd down 10. Louis Kelcher on the tackle. Second and 10 as the first quarter moves to 1:20 remaining. No score here from the Superdome in New Orleans. Delayed handoff to Dorsett. Looked like there was a problem on the exchange, and Dorsett's going to lose 4 yards. As number 55, Bob Horn, is in to make the tackle. And it brings up a 2nd down. 3rd down and 14 from the 24-yard line. Danny White alone in the backfield. And we got a penalty flag. There was early movement from Pro Bowl left tackle Pat Donovan. Nope, they're going to call it offsides on the Chargers. And Frank Duncan, number 47, must have been coming on the blitz. It'll bring up a 3rd down and 9 from the 19-yard line. Don Coryell not happy with the call. Not much you can do about it, though. When the guy's offsides, the guy's offsides. Coriel thought it should have been Donovan on the call. Danny White back to pass from the shotgun. He throws toward the end zone. It's caught by Drew Pearson. And it's going to bring up a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line as Drew Pearson with the steady hands. The undrafted veteran. Now in his 7th year out of Tulsa. Mr. Reliable for Roger Staubach for all those years. Comes up big here in the Super Bowl. And folks, that'll end the first quarter with the Cowboys on the verge of scoring. But as we end the first 15 minutes of play, it is 0-0. Dallas is driving. Welcome back as the Cowboys are on the 2-yard line with a 1st and goal. The San Diego defense has got to try and stiffen. Dallas, the home team in this year's Super Bowl. White back to pass. Throws in the end zone. It's a touchdown to Tony Hill. And the Cowboys take the early lead on a 2-yard pass from Danny White to Tony Hill. Dallas leads here into the Super Bowl 6-0. Raphael Septien will come on to attempt the extra point. Gary Hogaboom puts it down. Septien is good, and it is 7-0 Dallas. Now Dan Fouts has to try to answer that Cowboy drive. Cowboys trying to win their 5th Super Bowl. They beat the Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl I with a late bomb from Don Meredith to Bob Hayes. Routed the Houston Oilers in Super Bowl II. Here's the kick. Taken by Floyd on the 8. And he is going to get over the 30 before Bill Bates makes the tackle. I don't know why I said Bill Bates. The guy's name is Eric Hurt. Must be looking into a crystal ball. Cowboys returned in Super Bowl VII to defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then in Super Bowl VIII, knocked off the Oakland Raiders. Dan Fouts in the shotgun, 1st and 10 from the 32. There's the give to Clarence Williams. And he is going to lose 2 yards. 1 yard, they're going to call it. Number 53, Bob Brunig on the tackle. As he sheds the block and brings Williams down. Williams in 1980 had an outstanding season, rushing for 258 yards and having receptions for 230 as he shared time with Chuck Muncie. He seems to be getting the bulk of the work here in the Super Bowl as he takes the carry again. Third down and 5. Fouts back to pass. Throws it over the middle. It is caught by Clarence Williams, and it's going to be a 1st down, 11-yard pickup. Midway through the 2nd quarter, that's Fouts' first completion of the day for a man who threw for 4,715 yards in 1980. First down and 10 for San Diego. Fouts gives to Clarence Williams. He is going to hit the hole and be dropped for no gain. Big number 72, Ed Too Tall Jones, one of the players in on the tackle. 2nd and 10. Jones with a sack earlier on. Fouts back to pass. He's going to scramble. scramble, and he is going to be brought down as it appears to be Harvey Martin. Sheds the block and brings Fouts down for a loss of 12 yards and 3rd down and 22 for the San Diego Chargers. Fouts back to pass. Short drop. Throws over the middle. It's caught by John Jefferson, but he's only going to pick up 3 yards, and it'll be a 4th down. Rick Partridge will come on to punt it away. There's the kick. It's going to go into the end zone, and the Cowboys will bring it out to the 20. Rick Partridge with his 2nd punt of the day, and Danny White, who was 4 for 4 in the last drive, hitting Tony Hill for the touchdown. Takes over 1st and 10. White hands off to Dorsett. He is going to be met in the hole and is going to pick up about a yard. That's his 8th carry. He's averaging 2 yards a carry. Second down and 9. The Cowboys have 19 rushing yards today to the Chargers 7. White fakes the handoff to Dorsett. Dorsett goes out in the flat where White's going to hit him. And he's going to catch the ball on the 24 for a 3-yard pickup, and it'll be 3rd down and 6. Danny White in the shotgun. He's back to pass. He's going to throw over the middle. It's caught by Golden Richards, his 2nd reception of the day, and he is going to get into the 40-yard line, a pickup of 16 yards, and Danny White of 6 of 7, 67 yards and a touchdown. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys, 54 yards passing for White. White back to pass. He's going to throw, and it's caught. Not sure who made the reception. Golden Richards with his 3rd reception. 8 yards on the reception. 2nd down and 2 from the 47-yard line. Danny White picks his hand up. Throws to Tony Dorsett in the flat, and Dorsett's going to get a 1st down and into San Diego territory. He's going to pick up 9 yards on reception and a 1st and 10. White back to pass. He's going to scramble to his right. He throws it back. Looked like it was intended for the tight end, but he wasn't paying attention. Danny White threw it across his body, and it falls harmlessly incomplete in the 2nd down and 10. Billy Joe Dupree, the intended receiver. White back to pass. Throws it to Dupree, this time completing it. Dupree breaks the tackle. He's going to get 9 yards on the reception. It'll be a 3rd and 1. Third and 1 from the Charger 35. He takes Jay Saldi in motion. They give it to Tony Dorsett, and Dorsett is going to be met in the backfield and tackled. Louis Kelcher and big numbers 72, 71, Fred Dean on the tackle. 2-minute warning here in New Orleans at the Superdome, Super Bowl 15. Fourth down and 2, and the Cowboys appear they're going to go for it. Danny White in the shotgun. He's back to pass. White's going to throw on the run. It's caught. Drew Pearson, and he's going to be inside the 5-yard line to the 4, a 1st and goal. Drew Pearson beat Glenn Edwards. Had to slow down for the ball a little bit. Or it might have been a touchdown. Minute 45 and counting. White brings the Cowboys up. 1st and goal from the 4. White's in the shotgun. He's got receivers bunched to the left. He's back to pass. Throws into the end zone. It is caught, but out of bounds. Tony Hill. 2nd and goal with a minute 33 to go in the half. White back to pass. Throws to the end zone. Caught by Golden Richards for a touchdown, Dallas. Golden Richards on the shallow cross. San Diego didn't pick him up. Bob Horn had the coverage. Richards was a step in front. And Raphael Septien will come on to attempt the extra point. Golden Richards hasn't been with the team in 1980. Must have been re-signed for this game. Chuck Muncie brings the ball out of the end zone. Out to the 27. Fouts back to pass, throws over the middle, it's incomplete. Clarence Williams had a shot at it at first, but it was a little behind him, and the ball falls harmlessly incomplete. There's a look at Dennis Thurman, one of the defensive backs of the Cowboys. Fouts back to pass now, he sets up. He's going to throw it complete in the flat to Williams. He gets out to the 33 and a 3rd down and 4. Chargers do not seem to be rushing at all. They are trailing 14-0 late in this first half. Dan Fouts back to pass. The rush is on, and he is going to be dropped. Sacked by Larry Cole, the 12th year defender, in on the sack. And a timeout called by San Diego. Rick Partridge on to punt. Cowboy defense showing some signs of doomsday. It was actually Dallas who called the timeout. They want to get the ball back. The ball is going to take a bounce into the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20. Good punt by Partridge, but there was nobody there to cover. And with a minute 4 to go in the half, Danny White comes out. White takes a snap. He's going to throw. It's caught by Billy Joe Dupree up to the 29, and timeout by Dallas. With a minute to go. They're down to 1 timeout remaining. Dallas has 5 receivers on the field. White back to pass. The blitz is on, and he is going to be knocked down for a loss. A huge sack by Louis Kelcher, and the Chargers are going to call timeout. Third down and 9 now. 56 seconds to go before the half. White back to pass. He's got time. He's going to throw deep. It is caught by Tony Hill for a first down to the 19-yard line. The Cowboys are going to run all the way down. That ball traveled about 60-plus yards in the air. Tony Hill wins the jump ball. And with 38 seconds and counting, the Cowboys are up to the line. White back to pass. He's got time. He's going to throw. It's caught by Richards. He's going to be out of bounds at the 4. For some reason, Butch Johnson is not getting the playing time today. In fact, they brought Golden Richards back. I believe he'd been in Detroit for the Super Bowl. But he gets out of bounds and stops the clock, and it is 2nd and 6 from the 14-yard line. White back to pass with 20 seconds to go. He's going to throw. It is caught by Billy Joe Dupree. It is going to be close to a first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. The Cowboys will spend their final timeout. And with 16 seconds to go, the ball is on the 10-yard line, as they are trying to pour it on San Diego now before the half. Danny White back to pass, throws to the end zone, touchdown Dallas, as Drew Pearson makes the reception. And the Cowboys take a 20-0 lead. For all intents and purposes, the route is on, ladies and gentlemen. Danny White is having himself a ball game. That's his 3rd touchdown pass. Drags the toes, perfect catch. They are going to take a second look, have a discussion. It appeared to me he dragged his feet, though. Touchdown stands, and Septien will come on to attempt the extra point. 21-0 Dallas. The Cowboys just showing far superiority today here on Super Sunday. Floyd brings return out. Chuck Muncie, your normal kick returner. Floyd back there with him. Dan Fouts with 9 seconds to go in half has a 1st and 10 at the 30. There's a handoff to Clarence Williams. So the Chargers appear to... Oh, they are going to call a timeout after the run. Doesn't make any sense. 2nd and 7. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw. It's caught by Jefferson for the first down. And that'll end the first half. They're going to call it incomplete anyway. As we reach the end of the first half, the Dallas Cowboys explode for 21 points in the second quarter as they dominate the San Diego Chargers 21-0. Chargers were held to 9 yards of offense in the first half. Danny White of 16 of 19, 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. Tony Dorsett has 9 carries for 15 yards. Dan Fouts 3 of 6, 25 yards, but he's been sacked twice. There's the first touchdown to Hill. The second touchdown on the crossing pattern. And the final touchdown to Drew Pearson in the back of the end zone. As Pearson had beautiful footwork. And we get ready for the start of the second half as the San Diego Chargers will receive the ball. They've got their work cut out for them if they're to make this a game. Floyd from the 6. He's going to bring it out over the 30 to the 32. And that's where Dan Fouts will take over and try and get on track. First and 10 from the 32 for Dan Fouts. He's going to hand off to Williams. Williams is going to get hit immediately after picking up just 2 yards. And we'll bring up a second down and 8. Fouts back to pass. Throws it. Caught by Kellen Winslow. He's going to be close to a first down. They're going to say he got it first down. That's Winslow's first reception of the day. First and 10 from the 42 for the Chargers. Fouts gives it to Clarence Williams. He is going to pick up a couple. Number 41, Charlie Waters, in on the tackle. He was coming on a safety blitz. Williams can't get on track, and Harvey Martin brings him down in the backfield. Williams 8 carries, 16 yards today. Third down and 6. Third and 6, ball just over the 45. Fouts back to pass. And closing on him, he throws, it is caught. They're going to say it's a first down to John Jefferson. He's going to pick up 16 yards on the reception. Number 34, Aaron Mitchell on the tackle. First and 10 for the Chargers. Trying to get on the scoreboard. Fouts gives it to Williams. Williams is going to lose a yard. Second down and 11 from the 40. Fouts gives it to Williams, and Williams is going to pick up 2. It'll bring up a third down and 9. Ron Smith in the slot, the hero from the Buffalo Bills game. Fouts is going to hit Smith, his first reception of the day, and a first down to the 22. 55 total yards. The Chargers are finally getting some yardage. Fouts in the shotgun. Here's the give to Williams. Williams breaks through. He's to the 10, the 5. He's going to get to the 5-yard line where he's going to be stopped. And it'll be a first and goal for the Chargers. Their deepest penetration on the afternoon. First and goal just inside the 5. Fouts has it. Backs in the eye. There's the give to Chuck Muncie. His first carry of the game, and he's going to get down to the 2-yard line. 3 yards for Muncie. It'll be second and goal. the former New Orleans Saint. House gives to Muncy, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, San Diego. Chuck Muncy, in his 4th year out of California. A 1976 draft pick for the Saints. And Rolf Benirsk lines up for the extra point. The hold from Ed Luther, and the kick is good. And the Cowboy lead is now 21-7 with 3:51 to go in the third. Partridge sends the kick into the back of the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. Cowboys take over. First down at the 25-yard line. There's a look at Drew Pearson. He's got 3 receptions today for 60 yards and a touchdown. Playing in his 3rd Super Bowl. Danny White takes the handoff to Dorsett. He's got time. He's going deep. Into a crowd, and it is incomplete. Pearson had it in his hands. He had 4 chargers around him, and it falls incomplete. Second down and 10. White fakes the handoff to Dorsett again. Throws it. It is caught off the deflection. Caught off the deflection. No, they're going to say incomplete. He did not bring his feet down in bounds. That was almost a great catch. It's 3rd down and 10 now. White gives to Dorsett on the draw, and he's going to be met in the backfield and brought down by Gary Johnson. And it'll be a 4th down. And Danny White will have to punt. His last punt traveled 97 yards in the end zone. He's standing on his 10-yard line again. Another beautiful punt by White. This is going to go to Floyd at the 15. That punt traveled 75 yards in the air. And a 1st and 10 now, Phelps. Trailing by 14 with 2:48 to go in the third. They've got the ball on the 22-yard line. Phelps back to pass. Throws it over the middle. It's caught by Ron Smith, and he's broke free. Bob Bruning catches him from behind. 47 yards on the reception. Ron Smith got behind the secondary. His 2nd reception of the day. This one, a big one. Dan Phelps has come on in the 2nd quarter. There's the give to Clarence Williams. Williams is going to pick up 3 yards, and it appears to be a face mask is going to be called. Nope. They're going to say holding on the offense, and that'll be on John Jefferson. It'll be a 10-yard penalty and bring the ball all the way back to the 40. From my vantage point, I thought Williams was brought down by the face mask. I guess I was wrong. 1st and 20. Now, Phelps on the draw to Williams. Williams is going to pick up 3 yards on the carry. That's his 12th carry, 36 yards on the game. Second and 18, 17 from the 37-yard line. They give to Williams again. He's going to lose a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 18. You can't say the Chargers have not given up on the run, that's for sure. Ron Smith in the slot who had the big reception earlier in this drive. Bounce back to pass. Throws it over the middle. It's caught by Williams. He's going to get to the 28-yard line. And that is where the drive will stall with 30 seconds to go in a third. Benirsk lines up for a 54-yard attempt. And they're not going to get the snap off before the end of the third quarter. So as we end 3, Dallas leads San Diego 21-7. The Chargers have had the ball most of the third quarter as they line up for a field goal attempt. Well, here it is. 1 quarter to go. The Cowboys, 1 quarter away from their 5th Tom Landry trophy. The Chargers looking to come back and get their first. Benirsk lines up for a 54-yard attempt. The kick is up. It has the distance, and it is good. 54 yards from Rolf Benirsk. And the San Diego Chargers have now cut the lead. The long field goal attempt was actually made by backup kicker Mike Wood. So Mike Wood connects on the 54-yard kick. Jones bringing it out of the end zone. Dallas leads 21-10. 9:52 to go in the game. Danny White under center. He's got 2 backs behind him. Fakes the handoff. Throws deep. It's caught by Tony Hill into San Diego territory and a first down. 21 yards on the reception. And the Cowboys continue to make yardage through the air. First down and 10 from the San Diego 47. White hands it off to Dorsett. Dorsett is going to pick up 5 yards on the carry. That is 11th carry, only 19 yards on the day for the former Heisman Trophy winner. Hand off to Dorsett. In his 4th season out of Pitt. He's going to lose yardage. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Danny White in the shotgun. Throws it over the middle. It's caught by Billy Joe Dupree and a first down for the Cowboys. Dupree's 4th reception on the afternoon. 34 yards. Willie Buchanan on the tackle. I formation. White gives to Dorsett. Dorsett's going to plow his way for about 4 yards, I'm going to say. To 32. 2nd down and 6. 6:45 to go in the game. Cowboys leading by 11. White back to pass. He's going to throw. It's caught by Drew Pearson. 3rd down and 1. At the 26-yard line. White back to pass.
Throws over the middle for incomplete. It'll be a 4th down. Tony Hill had it in his hands and dropped it. 4th down and 1. And on will come Rafael Septien to line up for a 48-yard attempt. For a 43-yard attempt. My apologies. 43 yards. And the kick is long enough, and it is good. And the Cowboys have re-extended the lead to 14. It is 24-10 with 5:56 to go in the game. Dallas kicks off. They'll go through the end zone and the Chargers will take over. With 5:56 to go, the Chargers trail by 2 scores. First down and 10 from the 25. Dan Fouts in the shotgun. Back pass on the screen. They get to Williams, and they're going to lose a yard on that play. Big Harvey Martin in on the tackle. What do you say he got back to the line? It appears to me he lost a step, lost a foot. 2nd down and 10. Fouts back to pass. Throws it over the middle to Kellen Winslow and a gain of 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down. Dan Fouts, 9 of 13, 126 yards. Fouts back to pass. Just going to throw it to Jefferson. 1st down. Picks up 13 yards on the reception. Fouts back to pass. It is complete to Jefferson again. This time for 12 yards and a 1st down in the Cowboy territory with 4:05 to go in the game. Chargers trying to move. There's the handoff to Williams. Williams breaks free. He's got the 1st down, 11 yards on the carry. It'll be down to the 34-yard line, and Clarence Williams now has 46 yards rushing. 3:24 to go in the game. San Diego trailing by 2 scores. They have all their timeouts. Dan Fouts hands it off to Williams again on the draw. Williams is going to pick up 5 yards. It'll be up to the 29-yard line. Second and 5 from the 24. 29. They get the 1st down on the 24. Fouts back to pass. They're setting up a screen. It was covered well, and the ball falls harmlessly incomplete. 3rd down and 5. Randy White putting pressure on the quarterback. The Manster. Part man, part monster. 3rd down and 5. Fouts back to pass. Throws, it's complete. Charlie Joyner for a 1st down. Joyner in his 12th year out of Grambling, going back to the Pro Bowl this year. 1st team All-Pro. With 2:04 and counting, the Chargers are going to try and get the snap off before the 2-minute warning, and they are not going to be able to. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 18 with 2 minutes to go. The Chargers trail by 14. First down and 10. Fouts in the shotgun. And we got early movement. As the left guard got excited. Doug Wilkerson moved early, the Pro Bowler. First and 15 from the 23. Fouts gives to Williams, and that play is going to go nowhere. A minute 55 in counting. The Chargers are going to go in the hurry up. Second and 15 from the 23. Fouts back to pass. He's got time, good coverage. He's going to throw it complete to Clarence Williams. Nope, incomplete. Third down and 15. The Cowboys have stiffened inside the 20. Third down and 15 to go. A minute 44 to go in the game. The Chargers come away empty in this one. It's pretty much over. Dan Fouts back to pass. Throws to the end zone. Incomplete. It'll be fourth down. In a jump ball between John Jefferson and Aaron Mitchell. Mitchell wins that one. Now here we go. Fourth and 15. A minute 38 to go. They need to get to the 8-yard line for a first down. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw to the end zone. Incomplete. Jefferson could not hold that one. And ladies and gentlemen, the celebration is on the Cowboys sideline. The Chargers do have all 3 timeouts. Cowboys will take over at the 23. Steve Wilson on the coverage that time. It was in Jefferson's hands, but as he come down, Wilson knocked it away. Randy White ran out in the huddle to give the Cowboy offense a pep talk. He's back on the sidelines. First down and 10. As they give to Tony Dorsett, he's going to be met in the backfield and dropped. Fred Dean, Gary Johnson, and it'll be a timeout for the Chargers with a minute 31 to go. Louis Kelcher in on the tackle. Second down and 10, a minute 31 to go from the 23. Chargers had a hell of a drive going the last drive. A false start penalty killed them. Danny White ran into Robert Newhouse trying to give the ball to Tony Dorsett. And it'll be third down and 10, and the Chargers will burn another timeout. A minute 28 to go. The Chargers need to stop the Cowboys here. Get the ball back. Get a quick score. Get an onside kick. Get another score with a minute 28 to go. Sends Billy Joe Dupree in motion. We give to Dorsett. He's going to lose a yard, and the final timeout for San Diego will be called as the Cowboys send Danny White on the punt. With a minute 24 to go, the Cowboys have to punt away. They are leading by 14. White gets the punt off. This one's going to go all the way back to the, oh my goodness, into the goal line. Another 90 some odd yard punt for Danny White. He has had an unbelievable day. A minute 18, Fouts has the ball on his own 20. Dan Fouts under center. No timeouts left for the Chargers. He's back to pass. Gonna throw. It's incomplete as Williams cannot hold on. Fouts is 12 of 21, 163 yards. It'll be 2nd and 10 with 1:14 to go. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw it. This one to complete to Kellen Winslow. 11 yards, 12 yards on the reception. A first down, out of bounds. Stops the clock with 1:10 to go. With a big rookie tight end. First down and 10 now. Fouts in the shotgun. He's back to pass. He is going to be sacked by Ed Too Tall Jones. That's his second sack of the day. 5-yard loss. The Chargers have got to get back. The receivers are way downfield. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw it down the field. It is caught. It is caught by Charlie Joyner. A first down to the 44-yard line. And Aaron Mitchell gets him out of bounds. Oh, I'm not sure about that one. They are going to review it. The referee's going to have a discussion. Depends on if the ball was down there or not. First and 10. The pass is complete. San Diego they're on the Cowboy 44-yard line. 48 seconds to go in the Super Bowl. Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw in. Williams drops another one. Dan Fouts now 14 of 24, 204 yards. D.D. Lewis on the coverage. .44 seconds to go. Dan Fouts back to pass. He's going to throw. It's caught by Joyner. The clock is going to run. The Chargers are going to need to get to the line. 35 seconds. First down and 10 at the 23-yard line. This, but alright, I apologize for leaving the last 30 seconds. I had somebody show up at the door. I don't know what the final score is because I was not in the room, but the Cowboys win. their 5th alternate Super Bowl, defeating the San Diego Chargers. Danny White named MVP. And they hoist their 5th Super Bowl trophy, Tom Landry Trophy. Stay tuned. Join us next season. Hopefully it'll be soon, in a couple months, as I'm a month behind now, as the San Diego Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys will meet once again in a 2nd straight year. Thank you for joining us. Until next time.